Fight! 1. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 2. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 3. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 1. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 2. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 3. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 1. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 2. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 3. Ready, go! Excellent! Fight! 1. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 2. Ready, go! KO! Fight! 3. Ready, go!
오랴!
KO.
오랴! 오랴!